Hello and welcome to another episode of the SENDhelp Podcast. And today I have got Shannon with me, and we're going to be talking about something quite unique, but actually not, if that makes sense. So you'd think that musical theatre and neurodiversity don't have anything to do with each other, but I feel what I found through my kid doing drama and stuff like that it has a very strong, and if it is pushed, a very strong effect on children with neurodiverse and adults as well. And without butchering everything that Shannon's doing, I'll let her give herself an intro. We'll just have a little chat and see what makes musical theatre, especially, so good for neurodiversity. But Shannon, if you want to give us a little bit about your background and the diagnosis and stuff like that.
Hello, my name is Shannon Miller. I was diagnosed in my early 20s as ASD. I was always the shy kid at school. I wouldn't have said boo to a goose. Even now as an adult, I fear confrontation. I fear the awkward conversations when you've had that awkward moment of unmasking. And me saying the awkward moment of unmasking should never ever feel like that. And I also believe that through performing arts, it has helped me through my childhood, through doing GCSE drama, to even going on to do an amazing class at 30 with musical theatre and going into ballet. It's really helped me empower my autism. And I feel very much that one topic that doesn't get spoken about enough and is in the book that I'm currently working on is that we don't get the script. We have to work it out for ourselves. We're the improvisers of the world. And I also run a business called Gifts by Peggy, which is a crystal and gift business. And a lot of my marketing as well kind of merges the worlds together of gifts, crystals, and musical theatre. And very much, I'm a big supporter of it because I believe it all goes hand in hand, and it's named after my nan, who was very much into the classics: Judy Garland, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, who I think they are just starting to make a comeback in the theatre scene with productions like Top Hat.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And just going back to your diagnosis, how did you, before your diagnosis, did you have, what's your story behind, like, before that? Did you know? Did you have any idea? Did you always think something was different, or was it, what was it like before? Like, that's quite a late diagnosis for some people, because I got diagnosed at 11, and so you could consider that quite a late diagnosis.
100%, it was late. All through school, I was labelled a sensitive kid because I would get emotional at the slightest little thing. I must admit, even as an adult now, it still hits me. I'm the type of person, someone in shop will correct me on the self-checkout machines and I'll almost burst into tears. And I'd say it very much, there were signs there, like at work, I was always labelled the slow one. But as well, it shouldn't be labelled a bad thing, but some employers do. And it's being slow, it means that you care. And also, with my dyspraxia as well, I do walk on, and a lot of people call it tiptoe. I argue that completely. Someone said to me at the hospital a few years ago that I walk pigeon toe, and I love that. I think that's so unique and so quirky. And I must admit, that's the reason I kind of got back into ballet as an adult later in life after doing it as a kid, because I thought if people are going to comment on it, I might as well embrace it. And if they turn around to me and say, "Oh, did you used to do ballet?" at least I can turn around and say, "Well, actually, I do it."
Yeah, no, that's it. It's horrible, the stigma that you get, isn't it? Even leading up to it, because people they just comment on everything, don't they? And it's always never really positive. But when you got the diagnosis, did you kind of then, how did you feel? Because I speak to a lot of people that might still like kind of regret they didn't get it earlier, or did you feel more of the understanding now that, oh, I understand now what's happening?
I would say it was a bit of both. There was a little bit of mourning, that kind of what I didn't get when I was younger, through like teachers not understanding, through work colleagues not understanding. I worked a role where I went and said to my manager during the process that, look, the diagnosis is happening, there's about a 95% chance it's going to come out that I'm autistic. You know how you kind of have that feeling as well that it's going to come out?
Yeah.
Just to be told, oh, basically in a nutshell, I'm not bothered. I just care that you can do your job. And then I did get moved on to essentially a lesser role not long after that. But it's crazy. It's a crazy world.
Yeah, it is, and I've just done a status just to touch on that about the labels we should be cherishing labels, we should be celebrating labels, we should be saying that labels are empowering. This is what this means. This is what they can do. And it doesn't seem like that. It seems like when you get a label, it's kind of like not like a death sentence, but it's kind of like it is really, isn't it? It's like you're condemned from it. And you'd think that you'd get the
100%.
understanding of going for people saying, "Oh, you're just that," and then you get diagnosed, and go, "No, I'm actually autistic," and you think that kind of that makes it worse sometimes. You know, people are just as critical on autism and what they think autism should mean and be. It's just horrible. The one you can't win, really, can you? Like that's what I mean. It's just people's lack of understanding where it comes down to, isn't it?
And people get very set in their ways as well. It's like I fidget. Like at the moment, I've got my Nido, and on my lanyard as well, I've got like my clicker. But one thing that I'm not a fan of is the fact that people refer to them as fidget toys. Like that to me, it should be universal, and just the word toys, I don't think that's appropriate personally. As you get older.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because you think when you're younger, you have you get. I suppose the kids will think, oh, toys, and then everyone wants one because it's a toy. Yeah, and when you get past a certain age, then it becomes, why would I want one myself because it's a toy? You know, so it is.
100%.
I get what you're saying. Actually, there it does need to be a better. It's more of a stimulation thing. I don't even know how to describe it. Would you? Like it's because you do need it, and you don't never not need it in some degree. So if you use it as a child, as an adult, you're still going to be fidgeting. Like it doesn't go away.
Yeah. It's like, even if I didn't have my fidgets to hand, I'd be clicking a pen or like twiddling with it. But I think so many adults would feel more empowered to go and buy a fidget if it wasn't called a fidget toy. Because I've spotted it in shops that sell it. And you see them look at it, and obviously, like, no judgment, we don't know what's going on with them. But then you almost spot that thought process of, I really want to get it, but what are they going to think? And I think they need to kind of cut that out of it, that whole barrier as such.
And it does, as I said earlier, it needs to be universal. So it doesn't mean it needs to be a SEND person that needs to get it. And I think everyone could benefit in most of the things, like even whether that's for stress, whether that's just general anxiety. It doesn't
100%.
have to be related to SEND, does it? Like, and the more people that use it means that the more that people will have less stigma about, you know, going out in public and having that sort of thing. And it's a shame because you think
100%.
about it, like stuff like ear defenders, they kind of naturally develop because you end up then having earphones and headphones and stuff like that. So there's a natural change in what it is. You wouldn't walk around with big earphones necessarily. You could afford maybe the ones that noise cancelling headphones as an adult. Do you know what I mean? But there's no natural progression from fidget toys, is it? It's just stuck as fidget toys. Yeah, it's an interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, as well with it being universal, so many people don't realise, like the loop earplugs, that is for the SEN community. But I think that they work so well because they very much almost echo it's okay to wear them no matter what your circumstance. I used loops for a concert last November. I went and saw Remember Monday, and I got talking to a few people, and the amount of people that didn't realise I had them in. And it wasn't until I explained after and said, oh, I'm ASD, noise can trigger me, like I've just got them in, and they were like, we didn't even notice, we didn't even spot it.
And that's exactly how you want it, isn't it? That's exactly how you want it. Exactly how you want it. So moving on from after diagnosis and stuff, then into your musical theatre. What kind of, when did you start? I take it, did you start that way before you got the diagnosis, and it really helped with the diagnosis understanding afterwards? But when did you start? How did your journey in that start?
So I was actually the kid that always used to have a meltdown in the theatre.
Mm-hmm.
There was so many pantomimes my mum and dad would pay money for me to go and see, and I would scream top of my lungs. They would have me crying for even going in. I even remember being in Florida once, and I believe the show was Beauty and the Beast, one of the park shows. And I'd sobbed so much that my dad literally was like, no, we're going to have to take her out, meet the rest of the family outside. And I eventually, I would say, I'm showing my age now, but it was when I'd Do Anything, the BBC casting show came out, Looking for Nancy. Was almost like the start, because I remember watching that Nans, of, okay, it's quite cool. I'm going to watch Oliver. My dad kind of watched classics anyway, and so did my mum. But that was kind of me kind of taking interest when it was on TV, and also at my nan's, it would be, okay, let's watch The Wizard of Oz. And it kind of progressed from there, really. And as I say, I was the shy kid at school. And then I remember my dad took me to see Shitty Shitty Bang Bang with the rest of my family. It was a surprise. It was a really lovely surprise. I think I'll always remember one of my cool memories at the London Palladium. And I loved that. And then jump ahead a few years, I loved the film Legally Blonde. Still one of my favourites, because I also think it does tie in as well about empowering and being underestimated. And we went and saw it at Savoy. And that also changed me as well, because it was very much kind of like people, one of the main messages of the show is that people will underestimate, but you do have the power in your hands to kind of turn around and show them, well, actually, I'm going to prove you're wrong. And she does do that in the show.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favourites for a reason because of that, because it reminds me that it's okay to be different. And I probably sound really big-headed saying it, but I like to think that we've all got that little bit of our words, and we have all kind of overcome things and turned around. And if you don't mind me saying it, almost as a fingers up to people who's underestimated us, because I think we all have that fire in us. It's just finding it. And that's what I find sometimes when I perform, and sometimes when I use the power of theatre in my company, that if you kind of almost take traits of a character, that can build you so much more. Even if, like someone said, fake it till you make it, to the point that I like to think, even on my own journey now, that later down the line, I'm not faking it till I make it at like fairs and that. Because I think we very much camouflage as autistics to our surroundings as well. And I think theatre very much kind of gives us that nudge, you know, stop camouflaging, take X, Y, and Z from this character and go out in the world and show them what you got.
No, definitely. I agree with that. And it's quite actually cool, because since we last spoke, my kid done something. I knew it was coming, so I knew he had this production. He kept calling it a production, and he was really excited. And then he started talking about Hamlet, and he started talking about all this stuff. And as at the same time, we was doing like a drama thing. It was perfect timing for him on the app as well. And we're still doing it now with Sam, and he really, really liked that. And it's something that really opened my eyes really fast, because I would never have put him into drama. I would never have put him into that role. But somehow, he naturally, with the drama teacher he's got at his school and the things we're doing in the app, he's absolutely fell in love with it. And I think you're right about what the characters and the traits, and it helps to dissect. But what the school done was absolutely amazing. I mean, like a full production. Like of them all had roles, characters. It was a Shakespeare Rocks. It was, and they all smashed it. And I couldn't believe it. And seeing every child doing that, and I was like, I can't believe this isn't utilised more in schools. Like it was amazing. And it wasn't even like a normal, like there was the guys were dressing in dresses, it was silly, it was this, you know what I mean? Something you would think that, and the whole class done it, you know, and it was just so empowering to see that. And I think over the last 3 months especially, I'm really going down this whole of what you've kind of probably seen for your life of musical theatre. Kind of it just does a lot of good, doesn't it, to kids?
It really does.
Just any kids, but let alone neurodiversity as well.
And also, I think as well, you never forget your productions. Like, even when you're little, you'll never forget them initial shows. And it's ironic you say it as well. I've got a friend who I've always been in touch with, and we've almost reconnected even more with our love when we was talking about our school show. Because we made the connections. We was talking about our memories of it. And that was a show of Greece when I was in year 8, sorry. And your son will find the same, that them friendships, they don't die. They go on to later life, and the bonds that you have with class members and your classmates within the performing arts, it's lovely. It's such a supportive environment. And I think as well, if you get the right teacher, which by sounds of it, his teacher sounds amazing. I think as well that gives you that confidence and gives that room, that feeling of we've got this, and just let you have creative reign and kind of guides you, steers you. It creates something beautiful. I'm quoting Heathers now. So that's
Yeah,
the
no.
start of the something beautiful.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It really is. It does. And so I've got. I don't know if you're watching as well, but I've kind of been. I think people think it's me, but it's actually led by my children now about this jiu-jitsu journey that I'm on. But I think that what I've seen with musical theatre is why people gravitate to it is because there's one amazing thing that places like the jiu-jitsu and musical theatre do is you can walk in that room and you wouldn't necessarily know who's got autism and who hasn't. And that is so powerful because it means that whatever they're doing is so right that you don't need to stand out to fit in. And you're
Oh my
like,
gosh,
but
100%.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
mental. Like, and in a way that we always have to separate, and schools even segregate into the units and stuff like that. To see places where it doesn't matter, the question's not even asked, and and what you're doing is so kind of open for neurodiversity. You don't have to make any I suppose amendments as much as such because it's just already like drama. I suppose you're active, you're remembering roles, you're doing stuff that really fits like ADHD, especially autism as well, remembering scripts, like it just all fits and it's not pushed enough, especially drama in schools where it's going to be the only class in the school, especially now when you can actually walk around and run around and do stuff. It's like the only
100%.
constant movement they can get, isn't it? It's allowed.
And even like in school, I felt that drama was kind of my version of PE as well because there was less judgment and it was very much a universal, like you say, room where everyone feels on the same wavelength. There's no stigma. You come as you are and you're able to express things that other classes won't allow. And
Yeah.
I feel the government needs to really get a grip on how much performing arts does for people and
Yeah, you
young
do.
adults and kids. It builds
Okay.
it's building building blocks to skills later on in adulthood. And I'd argue that it should be a bigger part of the curriculum as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. It definitely should because it even like someone said to me as well, but you kind of do it as well, and I was like, oh, that's funny, isn't it? Because I now I'm on social media, I do like podcasts, I'm very much in the limelight, and you could say that I've done like last year I did like comedy shows, like I was going out and doing like little sets and stuff, and like locally and stuff like that. So I naturally gravitated towards it accidentally in adult life, like without even thinking. If you told me like when I was in school, oh, you'll be
100%.
on stage and you'll be saying jokes, I'd be like, no, I will not. That is the worst thing I'm going to be doing. But it's such an expressive thing, isn't it? Like, and I've done music, all the creative arts you gravitate towards. Like, and I guarantee, like lead roles and 9 times out of 10 going to be the neurodiverse kids, aren't they? It's just given the kids that are in class being the centre of attention that are causing the jokes and stuff like that. Push them into drama. They can do it then, and it could be dead. You know what I mean? Give them the lead role. They'll love it.
100%. 100%. And even I think as well, some of my background is customer service. I think a lot of my struggles as an adult with dealing with confrontation and dealing with kind of awkward conversations that do come up as an adult, I think
Mm.
with drama, it has helped me express it. But then I do think if it was used more in things like PHSE, but even then, like if it had been expanded more as a subject about this is neurodiversity, we're not that much different to anyone else, and that inclusion, but also tackling things in customer service, like when you got a customer shouting at you down the phone and situations that can be quite almost disorientating to someone on the spectrum. Like if you got taught it in school, okay, this is how we're going to deal with this situation A, B, and C, I feel it could help quite a lot. Later down the
Yeah.
line, I hope I worded that okay. It makes
Yeah,
more
well, no,
sense
no,
in my
I know
head.
exactly what you mean, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
because even like scenario, you don't even have to keep it drama as in the sense of doing a Shakespeare play. You could adapt it to like modern and do it in scenarios of what would you do in this situation, or as you said, having an angry customer and then learning how to deal with the difference. They should integrate parts of drama into just an actual curriculum instead of it not necessarily have like drama classes all day. Like, but as I said, drama is useful in many different ways because of that, and you could do stuff like that, and it does help. And I suppose people, when you're masking, you're looking at people on TV and people that are doing that anyway, aren't you, to learn your mask? So it's the influence already that you're getting, and that's how you learn your mask is through other actors and actresses, even if you
100%.
don't do drama, because it'll be the people you see on TV, the people that are, kind of look up to, the people that are media trained, that they're still acting a certain way to give off a certain thing. So then that's not still their natural self, is it?
100%. And there's so many TV programs as well that I feel almost twist reality, even though they're a reality TV show. And then that doesn't help when you're trying to mask and you're trying to fit
Yeah.
in either.
No, no, you're going to mask it to the wrong things, isn't it? And that's the same as like, isn't it? Like you could say, because obviously like the rap music and stuff like that. Obviously, I listen to it as well, but it's the stigma they get, isn't it? And I understand, and it is annoying because you've got all that influence and kids looking up to you, and that's what you choose to influence it as, and it's
Yeah.
annoying because it's like you could do this in such a more creative way, isn't it? But like, and again, the media that's going to see again parents that it scares them what they're going to see on the media because it is so hateful because you just don't know what negativity they pick up of it.
It really does. And another thing that annoys me as well, when I was working as a support worker and in care, the amount of training that I used to get, and it'd be, we're going to show you Tom Hanks in, I believe it was Tom Hanks, in Rain Man. We're going to show you Rain Man. And it's like, it you're telling us it's a spectrum, but you're giving us one example of it. And it's why I think shows as well, such as The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, has been such a success because Christopher, he hyper focuses. You see the meltdown on the London Underground, but then compare it to in a musical like Waitress, you've got the character Dawn. She's very much, she's got to have everything just right, she's got to have her routines. And I think the song When He Sees Me doesn't get enough credit because that very much highlights so much of the traits. And I think if you put the two and two side by side, it's two different variations of the spectrum. So why can't they show that on a training course?
Yeah. Actually, that's a good question. Actually, I just thought of. Do you think that mainstreams? Not, I know obviously they do a lot of in theatre and stuff like that, but like like TV and films. You know that they've kind of started trying to portray autism in the films and TV shows. How do you feel about that? I think they. I personally think they're way off in some of them, but some are getting a little bit
Yeah.
better.
It's ironic you say that because I've actually got a book next to me that's a series that I've been reading, and I was watching it on the TV, and now I'm reading a book series, and it's a book called A Kind of Spark by Ellie
Oh, okay.
Kennedy, and it's all about an autistic girl. And I've got to say that really resonated with me. Very much her, how she very much got very curious. I'm gonna be careful not to give away too many spoilers to the book, but how one little glimmer, she wants to go away and get all the answers to that particular subject, but then she got a lot of hate for it. And that very much was me at school. I remember in year 7, um, I'm showing my age. 2007, 2006, High School Musical came out. I was that kid that wanted to be Sharpay to a certain extreme. You know, that also, as well, I guess, fed into musical theatre. But then, as well, there's also on the TV, there's another programme called Geek Girl on, I believe it's Netflix. I felt that as well really touched really well on how bad bullying can be to a certain degree. I'll be honest, like, we're not all going to become models like later in the story because she does, fair play, she does go to be a successful model. That's a huge spoiler. But also as well, I guess that side of the story as well. It shows, don't let that label hold you back, because you're going to go on. It's not impossible. You're going to get a guy. You're going to get the career. It just might mean a few extra steps, or as on one of my husband's favourite programmes, Doctor Who, like they say on there, it's taken a long way around, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible. Definitely isn't. Oh God, you threw me back there. I forgot about High School Musical. That was crazy, wasn't it? That
I'm
was
showing my
massive.
age.
That was huge. I think people, that was huge. Like,
it's reopening
was,
at the. It's reopening at the Troubadour in Wembley.
Oh, is it?
I believe in October. But it's somewhere up north at the moment. It's really bad. I forgot. But it's got Harry, Judd in it, and Casey from the original cast.
Wow. Oh wow. Oh, that'd be cool.
And
really
Harry
cool.
Judd from McFly. I think it was McFly. Busted. That's really bad. I can't remember. You guys know who I mean.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I think, from what I've seen, as I said, they're attempting to get away. I think it's a very hard thing to portray, isn't it? In one, because again, if you really put it, autism and ADHD is unique to the individual, so it's really hard to put that into anything. Something they don't portray, which is crazy, and I don't know why. I've just thought it is ADHD.
Yeah. 100%.
Why not? I've never, you've got stuff like The Good Doctor, which is like for the autism and all of them, the very thingies ones, but I don't actually think I know one with the main character or a character having ADHD in it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%.
Weird. Yeah.
It's strange.
That's crazy. And as I said, you'd think that most of the actors actually have ADHD or autism themselves. I think, and this is what I was saying, I was on another podcast about role models, and I don't think there's enough of people, because of the stigma and stuff about it, that are coming out in that high end of and being like, oh, I've had it all along, oh, I've known I've had this, because it's very up that field. You'd think most of the performing arts would be riddled with it. It's got to be. But you don't really hear of much people. People are coming out now as advocates at celebrities, but it's still very behind, isn't it?
I would say in theatre we're quite lucky, because there are quite a few actors and actresses that do speak quite openly about it. So for example, Jess Foley, who is currently Eponine in Les Miserables, also amazing actress. I'm a bit of a fan. I didn't realise she was autistic till the other day, till I was scrolling through her TikTok. And I didn't realise some of the songs that she had written was to do with her own ASD.
Oh.
And talking as well about Heathers, I believe in the last UK tour, not the upcoming tour, one of the swings also had autism. I believe her name, I could get this wrong, I believe she's Elizabeth. Her name's escaped me. But as well, I didn't realise that until social media afterwards. And it shows, like you say, like how you wouldn't know unless you saw it online.
Yeah, and as I said, unless they see it, because they can craft it so well in the field they're in, it doesn't make any difference. It actually makes them better, doesn't it? Like in a way. Do you think society? How do you think society is at the moment? So you already had, you had growing up, you had like struggles and stuff like that, and then with the autism. But do you think it's kind of got worse, as society's judgment on it, or do you think it's got better and more accepting?
I think it's about 50-50. There's still curveballs. Like, I have found very much, especially through like job interviews and that, over the years, that you could be interviewed by someone and they could be nice as pie to you, but then you could say something about autism and they'll say it almost like they understand it on paper, but then with whatever you said, and I don't mean it to like catch them out, but they've just proven to you essentially what they've said, that they haven't got a clue. And I remember I went through a period of 2-3 years of job hopping through jobs. He just didn't get it, to put it bluntly. And I remember being sat in an interview one day and someone openly going through my job, each job I had, saying, what was the problem here? What was the problem here? And things like that need to stop as well. I think that people assume it's the condition. They don't look at the why the person went. They straight away assume it's the individual.
Yeah,
But
no, there is that,
I'd
isn't
say
it?
that'd
Yeah.
be my answer to society. And as well, I'd say as well, it's always when someone ASD is having probably either their worst possible moment or their best possible moment. I feel that's when they're normally picked apart. And that's on observation and also through my own experiences, that it's always when you're at your best or it's always when you're at your worst, people will choose to comment. And if it was someone not on the spectrum, not with a disability, as much as I don't like the word disability, I prefer like the word condition. I feel that's when society does need to kind of get a grip as such and a bit of a wake up call. Because if it was anyone else, they'd be celebrating with them. They would be helping to support them. Yeah, just because we communicate a bit differently, we share it a bit differently. It's almost seen as, I don't like to say it, but it's almost like society almost giving an eye roll as such. But then
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
think education of it is gradually getting better. It's been a bit of a diva at the moment. So
Yeah.
I've explained it to other people.
Yeah, it's like that. I remember being, and I've got when I was managing. It's met in the workplace with fear, I think, and with fear then becomes judgment and to push it away because of the lack of understanding. So instead of it being, some workplaces are better than other. Don't get me wrong, but like especially stuff like anxiety and autism and what that means and what you need to support is very misunderstood. And I think
100%.
again in the interview stage. I wouldn't. I used to like deliberately not put ADHD in the interview stage or any point, and then I put it afterwards because I didn't want. I know exactly what you mean about if you said that in an interview, it kind of derails the interview, and then you've said it too early, and you do get kind of criticised for that. As much as they say it's fair, it's equality rights and stuff like that, or you get the other one, and you've only got a job because you only get the interview because you've got a diagnosis, and they need to give you that many interviews out, and that's kind of like that's even worse. It's like, well, you're gonna be a sympathetic interview, like.
Yeah.
And it's
And you
it's
want to
it's like
feel
they
like
think they're doing pretty good by that.
and you want to feel like you've earned your spot for that interview
Yeah,
just as much as the next candidate. And you feel
yeah,
almost like sometimes you're going in, you like it's almost like you get that self doubt when you fill in that disclaimer of should I be putting this, should I not be putting this? And then you feel 10 times like you're under that microscope as such before they've even seen the skills that you have. I remember going to an interview, I'm trying to think when it was, I'd say pre-COVID, and I remember going into the office and it was very much, and again, I'm really sorry, going to quote a musical, but it's the first thing that I could compare it to. In the opening number of We Will Rock You, when they sing Radio Gaga, and they're all in the same costume, they're all in the same almost body language, and they may as well have been singing Radio Gaga, to be honest. And I remember they stopped me halfway through the interview. They asked me a question. It was almost like they were trying to catch me out. And then I got the phone call saying you didn't get the job. But it wasn't just, oh, you didn't get the job, fine, closure there. I got mocked essentially for the fact, oh, you're too enthusiastic. And they did it almost like a voice of me. And I thought, how dare you? Like older me now. Like when that
yeah.
happens. But like things like that shouldn't be happening. It's not okay.
No, it's not, and I think it does. Again, I was quite lucky because I was obviously in what I was doing was very heavily autism and ADHD, so it's not like they could turn around as management and be like, actually, no, we don't like that here. But I can imagine stuff like customer services and jobs where you're not working directly with anything with neurodiverse, just like these plain jobs, the understanding is so much further behind, and the comments are still very much like you get at schools, just to throw away old 2000s
Yeah.
comments about what it means and stuff like that.
And even working in care as well, I found that there were some care roles that like I've probably had about 2, 3 care roles where someone's turned around to me and either commented on the way I walk or even a manager's come up to me and being like, Shannon, why do you walk like that? And it's like, you're working with individuals on the spectrum. You shouldn't have to come here and even be having that conversation with me. And I remember, especially after that conversation, that particular individual even said to me, like, oh, am I upsetting you? And it's like, I shouldn't really have to be answering that. We're all adults.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Like, from what I
It is.
remember, I really heavily masked with that because it was a difficult one. Like, you don't want to let on that you're upset, but at the same time, inside, you're
No.
crying. But you got to have
Yeah,
that
that's it,
front
isn't it?
on at work.
Yeah. No, it is, isn't it? It really, really
It's
is.
such a
So
battle.
what sort of things are you doing now then with your musical theatre? So you've gone back to it recently, haven't you?
I found a really supportive school. My teacher honestly is amazing. She's really brought me out of my shell and is so encouraging, and I love it. We're a really passionate group. We're a mix of ages. It's very community as well,
Mhm.
and like I was saying before, sorry, I get in the way. One of my sims. I would say very much. Um, it's the beauty of theatre as well. When you find the right teacher, you find the right school. It's like I went to on Tuesday night a Miss Saigon masterclass, and it was amazing. The support from my teacher, the support from my classmates, and you find as well that you almost for them 2 hours to an hour of your class that you very much have that escapism, and
Yeah.
you feel like almost like a little family. And I
Yeah.
think it's the same in all kind of musical theatre drama that you become a family and you all get to know each other and you see each other grow from class to class, and very much I've always said it that I think just as a whole, not just in musical theatre, but with drama, maths, whether it be English, if you have that right teacher, you can achieve anything. And I've got to say, like,
I
we're a
agree
really
with that
lucky group.
actually.
We're such a lucky group.
Yeah, I agree with the teacher thing. Just going to the teacher thing for a quick minute because I see it in schools as well, and you get it multiple times when I speak to lots of parents, and the worst, one of the most heartbreaking is when they've had that good teacher and they're about to move in to another year where they know that the
Oh,
teacher's not going to be as
100%.
compliant. Yeah, and it really
100%.
does, and it's such a shame because then even in secondary school when you have that good teacher, it's only subject based then. So you'll only have
Oh,
a good science teacher instead of like a good experience in school. So it's very limited to the people that are actually come across, and there isn't enough of them. I mean, I reckon too many of them are leaving, but again, that's the school's kind of issue because of why they're leaving as well. As much as they try and put it on set, and I think that's kind of a mixed bag of there's lots of issues to do with teachers in there. But when you come to stuff like musical arts and stuff like that, performing arts and stuff like that, I think you're right. Once you get that family, you've got that family for life, and it's similar to like jiu-jitsu or something like that. I suppose like a good football team or something like that. You just become like
100%.
a second nature, doesn't it?
Definitely. And like you say, same with sports as well. Once you get that group, that cohort together, and it's same when you go out and network, it's once you have that cohort, you know you're in a good place. You know that you're going to feel comfortable. You know you're going to feel at ease. And I must admit, the last 6 months, I think I've really kind of found myself in them
That's
groups,
good.
which I know that probably sounds a bit backwards being at the age of 30, because I know people that I went to school with through social media who met when they were like 13, 14, and their friends right into their 30s. But I do feel that it is almost held back because of our condition sometimes, that it's almost like another memory from school was I remember in PE the teacher getting students to pick and someone in my class saying, oh, don't pick Shannon, someone else saying she's slow, and I was picked last. And I must admit, like, I didn't like PE anyway, as you can probably tell. Musical theatre and drama is my sport. Um, but I remember it was like football or something, and I'll be honest, I didn't feel like I could continue with the game, and I was masking so heavily in that class just to survive it. But then when you get to like 30, as such, and you find out groups. But then part of me does almost mourn a little bit, being like, oh, what if this was a few years ago? I could have had a few extra years.
Yeah, no, that's true. You do get that. Oh, well, where were they? Like, you know what I mean? I've had that group at all times.
Yeah.
It's I think an interesting element as well that actually I need to factor in with the what makes like jiu-jitsu and stuff like this is another thing you said about being mixed ages, and I think that has much more
Oh,
of an
100%.
impact than I've ever imagined, because I don't know why. Again, it was they're in school. It's year by year by year. You're restricted, and also what happens is other years they conflict with each other. So like the year 10s and year 9s are at conflict to each other, or the year 12s at the head of the school. Year 7s have got no chance. You know what I mean? There's like hierarchy
Yeah.
to it, where if it was open and ability wise, like when you get the difference, you learn differences through. There's so much to learn through the age groups, up and down. So like this, so like learning a child as a like 11-year-old, learning how to speak to a 7-year-old that's in your class, and doing that information, and as well as being able to do that to another 14, 15-year-old. You know, and then having being friends with
100%.
both of them and having two different friendships because of it, and it's like crazy, like.
It's like, I must admit, the friendships that I did form in school, it was always the older kids because of school show and like drama. And they very much almost, I felt as if there was no judgment. I felt very much as if it was, I got your back. And I remember going to a couple of them like in tears about some of the stuff that went down on the playground. But then I do think in some respects, like you were saying about with the ages and that, this is where schools should be mixing maybe like half of year 1 with half of year 2, for example. So there's like almost a mixed integration. Because I think
Yeah.
naturally you do adopt as such when you see someone younger or you see someone older than you.
It's good for you. You have different character sets, don't you? Like if you meant to look at people older, a bit more respectful and stuff like that, and then that younger is like more of a supportive role. So you're helping them, aren't you? And that's
Yeah.
such a good thing to develop, especially neurodiverse kids as well. And well, any kids really is it to look out for each other instead of it being a competition of, oh, he's older, so he's in his your group. That means, you know, and that's how it happens. And I would question again with everything I know about school and how pointless it seems at the moment, whether even having year groups is actually beneficial. If you've done studies
Yeah.
on what would happen if you've done, like as you said, a year 1 and year 2 class, what would happen, and would anyone be hinted, or would that actually develop into actually something faster? I would argue that it probably would make more of an impact, especially
100%.
emotionally. Yeah, than it would to do anything wrong. I don't see the harm of it. I don't think, especially at year 1 and 2, when it's not as severe, the jumps and leaps and bounds in the progression, you'd be able to do it, wouldn't you? Like, and then when you get to secondary school, it would just be lessons. So you could do it by, instead of, say, if you're on top set, you'd go to a certain lesson between year 7 and 8. It wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean you're in year 8's class or year 7's class. You just go to that lesson or wherever you are.
100%. And also, I think that is where, as well, through school, I met probably like the best role models because they had gone through hurdles and they always had a buddy system at the start of school. Like, that should be consistent throughout school. So you've always got that mentor figure as well. And I remember as well, like school shows, you'd idolize essentially older kids because they would naturally almost take you in to their group and it wouldn't have any almost like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Far from it. You'd just be accepted. Like
Yeah.
I remember becoming friends with sixth formers through one of the dances that was doing in Greece because with my dyspraxia, I just wasn't feeling it. Like I say I wasn't feeling it. I could feel the character in that, but my timing was so off. And they just adopted me and they were like, look, like, don't panic, don't worry. Why don't you try this move this way? Why don't you try this move that way? And almost they made me feel like I wasn't failing, I wasn't. And as well, it was right teacher as well, the right support. Because, well, I had a teacher as well kind of say, like, oh, there's these two girls, I think you get on really well with them. You know, let's help you out, but also let's get you some friends. Because I think she knew that I was
Yeah.
struggling as well with friendships.
That's very nice of him. That's good. That's really good of him. And yeah, so my boy's my oldest has just left the school that I got him in for 6 months, and it's a shame because the school's just done amazing things. I said they've done a big show, and one of the things they done as well was, so the year 6s had a they was mentoring for a year three, so they was all attached to a year three kid, and it was like I was like, that's such
Cute
a genius
and
idea.
lovely.
So they all
Yeah,
had that. They all had one kid that looked after them, and when they were doing their speeches about their levers and stuff, at the end of the levers and that, they were saying stuff to the kids, like just keep doing
that's
what you're doing, you're going to be
lovely.
fine. I was thinking, oh my god, like that is
I
like
can
that's
say
how it
you
should be,
do the
isn't it? Like,
dishes.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
no, that's what I mean. I
sweet.
was like, oh, this school,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've just. Happy thing is as well. I've just got my middle child into that school as well for year two. So I'm absolutely ecstatic that I've just got
Congratulations.
6 months of it, seen all of that, but I get to restart now from the beginning all the way up to see that sort of stuff happening. Because
Yeah,
it's just something we should do. We all again when it's only ever ages up until you get to adults, isn't it? So when you get to like 18 plus, you start going. It starts mixing. You might be friends with 21-year-olds, a bit older. You go to work colleagues, all different ages. So it's only ever school that limits you to age brackets, really.
yeah. And also, I think as well, there's a lot you can learn from like almost your next generation. But then I like to think that I'd like to leave a little bit of a legacy for the next generation as well
Oh yeah,
through talking about everything that I've gone through because the world's constantly changing. But then things like the ASD stigma at the moment it's progressing, but it's just progressing so slow. But the more people that's aware of things changing and like little things from like our generation, that can help so much. It can make a difference.
yeah. Yeah, the good thing about this generation, I'd say, is it started to talk on social. Obviously, social media coming to this generation, and also the talk about it started on social media this generation. So where before it was very hidden, isn't it? And I remember
Oh yeah.
a time when it was offensive to be even listen. I like if now you can go up to someone and go, oh, maybe they've got autism, and they take that fine. But I remember there was a time when if you said that to someone, you could fall out of friends with someone suggesting that to their mates. I think your kid's got ADHD, or I think your kid's
Oh,
got autism. That used to
100%.
be like fearful. You used to be like, it's so hidden. You don't want that at all. That was like the last thing you wanted.
100%. And the lanyards as well. Like I
Yeah,
love
and then yeah,
as well. Like on mine, I'll show you a bit closer up. I had customized it. But I've got through Etsy like badges saying like I'm autistic, I'm not rude. Oh, I don't know if that'll show on the camera. I've got another one that says please don't comment on how I walk or my feet. And I love how tangible they are as well.
I like that
And as
too.
well,
Yeah,
bit being tangible, like my teacher gave me a musical theatre badge. I got my dog that my mum gave me. And I love it as well because it's not like, oh, there's someone's lanyard. It's educating, but it's also showing a bit of their personality and a bit of pizzazz
yeah,
as
yeah. No,
well.
it's great.
And
Yeah,
it's
no, that is great.
celebrating individuality.
No, it really is. It is. It is really. Yeah, no, it is really. That they're good. I like them because obviously, as I said, if people are reading it, it kind of guides them into as well to be able to help you and help themselves when they're interacting with you as well. So that's really good.
Yeah,
But
like,
again, just to land in general, something that is good because it gives you that awareness straight away, and I think they helped. I think they really did help, and especially when they first started coming out, especially for the more severe like children that would not be verbal and stuff like that. So like people in the public would know that their kids are not being rude or they're not, when they're screaming at them or asking them something and they're not replying, that they understand. It just gives that without the awkward conversation, doesn't it?
yeah. And as well, I think as well, the amount of conversations it started when like I've been at my store with people, it's almost
Mm-hmm.
opened up opportunities as well because I've had people approach me and say, "Oh, I hope you don't mind me saying I saw that you're ASD. I don't know your business that well. What have you got that could support someone?" And then I can say that I have like my lavender room spray, for example, that helps with sleep. I've got in a moment the stress axolotls that are quite tangible, and it's
Yeah.
almost, I'm going to sound like a typical business owner, but it does help with sales to a certain degree. But
Mm.
then it also helps have a rapport with that customer because the amount of customers that I have that will still reach out to me on inbox and always keep the conversations alive, and we'll be sharing stories, we'll be sharing experiences, and that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't wearing my lanyard.
it's crazy, isn't it? Just a little lanyard and it's opened up all them doors. Yeah, and it is true because I still do that as well. And it's much because I've got it. It's kind of like I think that's the connect as well, and that's where I started off because I thought I could say it because I've got the condition. Like I wouldn't be if I was a parent and I had got it late diagnosed, wouldn't be as confident saying it. But having it as well is that relatability, and I think it all opens. It gives. I like even me when I'm talking to someone that's neurodiverse or got ADHD or ADHD is the same because you automatically know that they're going to know certain things that understand certain things that you understand. As I said, everyone's life's different, but even like the stigma, they understand. It pushes you to be that community very quickly, doesn't it? Like, and it is
100%.
stuff like that. I think has been amazing because you wouldn't see it on the surface, and I think that's where the issue sometimes gets it, and people think that it's going to be so visible, and you're going to see. And I think times have moved on, and I think we need to come away from like the learning disability autism, where you're talking about where you've got learning disabilities and further needs, where you're not non-verbal or you're not going to do that, and the textbook rocking and all of that, where people still look for that and think that if you don't have that, you haven't got it. Like, do you know what I mean? When these landmarks kind of bring it in, where people can kind of speak and have the conversation and ask the questions instead of assuming as well. That's good.
And I think as well that like public places have gotten a lot better. As well, I'm going to use theatres as another example. The Troubadour, when I went to see Newsies, they offered a touch tour, and I believe Six does it as well, up on the Strand, where you can go, and if you've got a condition, you can go and you can touch the props. And they've got guides as well that you can download off the website to show your loved one or even for yourself before you go to the theatre, explaining the layout, explaining key moments in the show as well. And I've even noticed on TikTok a few theatres and public places doing it, even like shopping centres saying, okay, when you approach this building, this is going to happen, X, Y, and Z's going to happen. And I can't remember what show it was I was reading it for, but it even said like, okay, this is going to happen, there might be a loud bang. Like, past me, if I had that, I probably wouldn't have had as many meltdowns as a kid, and I probably would have got into theatre a load more sooner.
Did you know that's key? Actually, I didn't realise how key that could actually be from like shopping centres and stuff when you look through it, because they have got a lot of virtual tours now, isn't it? And even just being able to look at what you're going into is a big tool that we didn't have, so we kind of went, either did or didn't go in. Like it wasn't like, I can kind of work it out or have that time to kind of watch the videos over and over again to kind of normalise yourself of what's going to happen and expectations and stuff. So it's good.
And
so before we finish then,
also and the amount of people as well that see the lanyard out and about and will offer you the opportunity, like I hold my hand out, I try not to take it unless I absolutely need it. But they'll offer things like the disabled toilet just through seeing the lanyard. It goes, and it's handy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Yeah, no. I mean, before we finish, what would you say to people on the fence about it? Like, is there anything you want to say to anyone that's thinking about getting their kids into it? Or any therapy? Any advice about picking schools? What ones would be better?
I would say go in, have your first class, and it's almost like trying on shoes. You'll know what works for you. I say I've gotten really lucky going back into it, like recently, but I very much would say just go for it. And same for auditions. If it's one thing I've learned over the years as well with auditions and whatnot, just go for it. Just give it your best shot. I know it's easier said than done, but just go for it. Go and have fun. It's like I said to my husband. It's like I said to my husband that sometimes it's even just being there that is that first step. Being in the right rooms, the right environment, that you can essentially blossom.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, definitely. I would say as well, on top of that everyone, there is lots of things out there, and I'm starting to feel like I said, it's sort of the creative arts or sports are like the two narratives to go down for our kids that are really helping, and in much as everything else seems to be like not helping our kids, these seems to be thriving and really helping kids like into. But then again, I wouldn't say all sports. I mean, football's a bit questionable. That's still a bit outdated. But I suppose it depends on the team, it depends on the manager and stuff like that, doesn't it? But most of the newer sports and stuff like that are like a lot more tailored to, I suppose, autism, I suppose, and ADHD, because
Yeah.
you're going to have them in the team and they expect them to be in the team now. And whereas before, I think it would really stand out if you've said that you had it. But more importantly than that, I think that sports and musical theatre are places where you don't actually have to announce you have it,
Oh,
which is great because
100%.
you don't, it just works, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of them environments as well, it's built on like you can disclose if you're happy to, but no
Yeah,
judgment if not, which I think's great as well.
but it's way forward. Yeah, it should always be on your terms, isn't it? It shouldn't be forced
Yeah.
upon you to be able to have to put that information, especially when you know that it's going to damage what your experience or what you're going to do next.
It's like ironic with the lanyard. I remember a colleague approaching me and openly saying to me, "Oh, what disability do you have?" Just because I had my lanyard on. And I must admit, it was a very awkward conversation because part of me wanted to be professional and almost tell them because I did get on fairly well with them. But then the other part of me was thinking, how dare you? Like, how dare you
Yeah,
approach like that? That should be down to me to tell you when I'm ready, not just because you've seen my lanyard.
yeah. You should kind of you should take note that there might be something there, but like not assuming and not not asking. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah. I get that. No, I think, right, I think this has been a brilliant episode. And I think that I'm really hoping I'm going to push again for everything I'm doing jiu-jitsu and the musical theatre. And again, Sam, the one that does drama teacher, is going to be looking excited to hear this, because she's been saying this to me. Now, she was the first person that kind of made me open my eyes before my child even got into it, about what drama can do to a child and what it means, not necessarily, as I said, to shows, but even facial expressions and motions, learning the script, as you said, isn't it? It really, really helps the fundamentals of that, and it should be pushed more.
It really is.
No, I thank you very
100%.
much for thank you very much for your time today. And as I said,
Thank you for
I
having
think
me.
no, it's all right. It's good. And as I said, I'm thinking I can speak to Sam, see if there's anything else we could do in the future or something like that. Maybe on a kids class or whatever, or just like another little talk on it or something like that. But yeah, it's been really good, and it's obviously I love a different one like this where because it's quite positive, because it's saying that something is good out there rather than the negatives of sometimes normally the podcasts are, because of how bad the world is at the moment. But it's a nice one to have
Yeah.
a nice positive chat about stuff that's really helped and what can help and what is actually out there now, like not on a
It's
16
amazing.
year waiting.
100%. I've really enjoyed it.
No, it's good. It's good. I've really enjoyed having you as a guest. No, thank you for your time. Thank you for, as I said, mostly following or have you come about on through the podcast links and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Honestly, it's made my day. It's made my week.
Oh no, nice. That's nice. But yeah, no, thank you very much.